Thank you. We will now move to questions. And we will go in the same order and then alternate. What do you see as the school board's role in PAUSD's special education programs? What is the board's role in implementing new programs? Melissa.
Wasn't sure how that worked. Well, first of all, a good education is a civil right for every single one of our students. And I take that incredibly seriously. We as the board oversee policy, and we uphold those fundamental principles. I've always been a staunch advocate for sane, effective strategic planning in every area of our district. So as a school board member, we oversee policy, we create policy. We make sure that policy is rolled out in a way that makes sense, and we allocate resources so those policies can be effective. If you don't allocate the resources but you put out policies, it doesn't really help. We then must advocate for every student and review our policies to see if they're working. So that's the role of the board, and I believe that's our role in special education. Like some of my peers up here, I also have a child who, although he doesn't have an IEP, has gone through the 504 process and has that now. Oh, I only have a minute? Oh, no, okay. And so I understand that how frustrating it can be and how tough it can be. But I think that the board's role is to make sure the resources are available to make sure that every student is able to have an education that challenges them where they are.
Heidi?
So the board role is to ensure a free, appropriate public education for every student. Special education decisions, however, are made between the parent, the teachers, and the learning specialists in our district. There are national IDEA guidelines that state that every student be educated in the least restrictive setting possible. This means more district and board attention to promote collaboration between teachers and learning specialists within the classroom. I support including learning specialists as partners in the classroom who can use their expertise to modify the curriculum if needed for a particular student. I would advocate for the most inclusive placement possible for each child. Sometimes the appropriate placement for a child will be a pull-out program or a special day class or a non-public school setting. And I too have a son with a 504 plan as well. So interesting, 3 of us have kids that have been through some of the special needs in our community, and so I will call on that experience as well in looking at these issues. Thank you.
Camille?
I think the board has many responsibilities, and the first one as an individual board member is to hear the voice of people in the community, and I often do that. I meet with community members and provide a voice for people. For example, one of our former students asked the board last year to vote on a resolution for Americans with Disability Week. We heard that, she brought it to the board, and sometimes it's just a matter of hearing what the issues are. Secondly, it's of course budget. If you look at budgets, staffing, sensitivity to the needs of special ed families, staffing levels, organizational structure, and then just support learning in the least restrictive environment possible. In terms of budget, the board does okay the budget, and in fact, we have another question that's coming up a little bit later, but it deals with the fact that the school district is now responsible for the emotional health needs of our students, not just the county. That has some budget implications that we'll talk about a little bit later, but we've added to our staffing in order to meet the needs of students, and we'll talk again a little bit more about that in a bit. But first of all, I just want to say you provide a voice for people, and everything else will follow.
Ken?
Well, the basic responsibility of the district is the same for all kids, and that is to ensure that each child gets the education that they need. Every child, regardless of their special need or ability, has the same right to a free, appropriate, and public education in the least restrictive environment. that's the legal mandate for the school district to provide, and that's a responsibility of the school board to ensure that it happens. But the district should go beyond that legal mandate. And when I've spoken with parents of kids in special education, what I often hear is a concern for transparency and trust. How do I know that how do I know everything that I need to know? How can I get more information? Who in this organization can help me? And behind that, I think, is the fact that parents of students with special needs are worried about the fact that their child is having trouble. And they want to make sure that they know how to support their child and deal with these new challenges, while they're also trying to learn how to navigate this new and strange system of forms and, time limits and categories. And without help, I think that can seem very intimidating. I mean, that's a great reason to have an organization like the CAC, and that's why the schools, I think, have to step in to help families navigate this system with honesty and with compassion. They need the support of our schools, and I think that's the second role for the school board. That is to ensure that the schools don't just act within the limit of the law, but also act with compassion for the kids and the families.
Thank you so much.